There's a lot going on, but we got to continue to invest in things that will elevate the quality of life in the city and the state to attract more talent or retain our graduates from the best universities in the world. They're graduating from here and they're going out of state. We need to try to keep more of them here and help to grow the state's amazing brain power and population.
Welcome to Off the Record, a podcast featuring leaders on IBJ Media's Indiana 250 list. I'm Nate Feltman, CEO of IBJ Media, which publishes the Indiana 250, a list of the most influential business people in the state. Today I'm joined by Ersal Ozdemir, the founder of the commercial real estate company Keystone Group and the majority owner of Indy 11. Over the last 2 decades, Ersal's creative and distinctive approach to real estate development has been on display throughout central Indiana, and his passion for the world's game, soccer, led him to establish a professional soccer franchise in Indiana, the Indy 11. Ersal's love of soccer dates back to his childhood in Turkey. He left Turkey in 1993 to study engineering at Purdue University. 4 years later, he earned his degree in civil engineering, and fortunately for our state and city of Indianapolis, Ersal decided to stay and build his life here. Ersal started the construction and development company Keystone Group in 2002. Keystone has its fingerprints in some well-known local developments, including Sophia Square in Carmel's Arts and Design District, the Olivia Mixed-Use Development on Main Street in Carmel, and the recent conversion of the 20-story AT&T building in the heart of downtown Indy into luxury apartments. More bold projects are on the way for Ersal and Keystone, including the conversion of the historic Illinois building just off of Monument Circle into the city's first Intercontinental Hotel, and the Alexander Mixed-Use project in Keystone. But by far the biggest project Ersal and his company are working on now is 11 Park, the over 20-acre site mixed-use development downtown, whose centerpiece will be a 20,000-seat soccer stadium for the Indy 11. 11 Park, when fully developed, will be over a $1 billion project and a major asset for our city. Ersal started the Indy 11 soccer team in 2013. In 2021, he bought the Diamond Chain Manufacturing Complex in the southwest corner of downtown to make way for the stadium and the surrounding 11 Park. Demolition of the massive Diamond Chain Complex is underway right now, with the goal of opening the stadium in time to see the Indy 11 play its first game at the new stadium in 2026. The Indy 11, along with Keystone's high-profile developments, are hard to miss, but Ersal also does quite a bit behind the scenes. He serves on the boards of the Indy Chamber, the State Chamber, Park Tutor, and the University of Indianapolis. He's also heavily involved with his alma mater, Purdue, serving on advisory councils for the College of Engineering. Ersal is a 2-time member of IBJ Media's Indiana 250. Here's our conversation. Ersal, welcome to the Indiana 250 podcast. It's great to have you as my guest today.
Glad to be here.
Well, Ersal, I've had the good fortune to be your friend for the last 20 years and see what you've been able to accomplish due to hard work, passion, and sheer determination. But I want to start from the beginning and talk about your decision to attend college in the United States and then your decision to stay in Indiana after graduating from Purdue. So you're growing up in Turkey and decided to attend college in America. What inspired you to leave Turkey for America, and how did you choose Purdue?
When I grew up in 70s and 80s in Turkey, everybody knew that the best colleges in the world are in the United States. One of my older brothers, who was an engineer, he moved to the U.S. to get his graduate degree in Oklahoma. And looking up to him, I wanted to be an engineer, and I thought I want to go to the United States to go one of the best universities. And I'm not sure if my mom would have known that I'm going to stay here, would have sent me here, but she thought I was going to go to school and go back to Turkey. And so I came here because we have the best universities in the world.
Did you know anything about Indiana, or did you just know I'm going to Purdue, and Purdue happens to be in Indiana?
You know, back then, I actually landed in Oklahoma first, lived there for earlier, and then I was trying to figure out universities and didn't have internet. So we were looking at more Yellow Pages and U.S. News and World Report. I looked it up, civil engineering, the best schools. Purdue was ranked, I believe, number 3 in the country at that time. And really, it was it. So if that happened to be in Nebraska or it could be somewhere else, I would have done there, because my only purpose to come to the United States was to go to one of the best engineering schools. And that happened to be in Indiana. The only thing really I knew about Indiana was Indiana Pacers. Growing up, I was a Michael Jordan fan. I was a good soccer player. I played basketball. So everybody obviously followed NBA in Turkey. And So the only thing about it was Indiana Pacers.
So you graduate from Purdue with your civil engineering degree, and then you have to decide what's next and where do you go. What point did you decide to stay in Indiana versus maybe returning to Turkey or Oklahoma? How did you decide that it'd be Indiana to start your career?
I decided to stay in the United States before my senior year, and I've met a lot of people that have moved here, go to great schools. They work, some of them work with great companies, and they can't decide if they should move back or stay here. I decided that I'm going to either move right away to Turkey, start a life, or I was going to pick a place and make it a permanent home. I didn't think that I could be, I should be moving all the time. I need to make a commitment to do what I'm doing now. And part of that, I didn't really get to decide Indiana. It was until my last year, actually summer, I had an internship here for a big international company building United Airlines Maintenance Center. It was a big project by the airport. And I met some great people I work for. And I was driving from West Lafayette every day, and I felt like, well, this is sales tax with 5%, great place to live, great people. It was colder than I thought, but U-Haul was $29 to move, inexpensive to move to Indianapolis. So I said, why not? So at least I know people at Purdue, and I knew people I worked for that they will be a good resource to reach out to when I start my business and grow my business.
Along those lines, what do you think it says about Indiana that someone that came here with no contacts, really, other than the ones you met when you were at Purdue, you didn't grow up here, didn't go to high schools here. What does it say about Indiana that someone with your background can accomplish what you have in our state?
I don't think I'm anything special. I think this talks about really American dream, what made America the best and the most powerful and country in the world is the American dream. And a lot of immigrants came here and built this country. And back then, 200 out of 500 Fortune 500 companies are started by immigrants. I don't know what the number now today. So it's really looking up to the American dream of work hard, take care of family, friends, and do the right things and be patient. And then eventually it works out. So that was really the American dream.
So let's talk a little bit about all the work you've been doing since college in terms of development work at Keystone Group. Your projects, whether they're downtown Indianapolis or Carmel, are very distinctive and have been really important drivers of economic development. I'll use an example development that you did first in Carmel, the Sophia mixed-use development in downtown Carmel. It was one of the major projects that really helped spur, I think, development in Carmel. When you think about real estate development projects, what process do you go through to end up where you do, and what is maybe distinctive about what you do versus maybe other developers think about doing?
Obviously, diversity is always a great thing, and this is, I think, I'm lucky that I was born in a different country, but Indiana's my home, and I've traveled a lot, and every time I travel, I look at buildings, I look at the cities, I look how they were built in the past, in Europe to South America to all around the world. And you try to figure out what can we do to make our city and state better. And there's always ideas. And being in the business and construction, real estate, and we can't bring everything here. This is different than what we try to do. How do we elevate to do that? And I think one difference, obviously, we do have is that, when you see different things around, we want to differentiate and elevate. And I love what I do. And this is our passion. We want to be fiscally responsible. But for us, when we select projects and we focus on really where do we want to do this, where do we think we can make an impact, we need to be fiscally responsible, but we also want to elevate so that it continues to make our city and state better.
As I mentioned, your development in downtown Carmel, the Sophia mixed-use project, that really has, it seems like, spurred further development. And since you've done that project, we've seen massive new economic development of that whole area. Did you ever imagine the city of Carmel would boom the way it has since your project started there?
We were hoping. Sophia was a very special with underground parking. It's kind of its first kind with a courtyard plaza with a fountain, which is more European in a lot of old historic cities, and a bunch of restaurants and residential upstairs. And obviously we're hoping because we invested significantly. It was abandoned 13 buildings in 1 2-story. We tore them down and excavated it in environmentally contaminated site. We cleaned them up and 2-story underground. So it was a very challenging project, but we were optimistic about it. We were hoping that will be the transformation that downtown arts and design district need. It was the largest project there. Now, did I expect it's going to be as good as it is today? No, because after even 10 years, I'm like, I should have bought half of the
That's right.
area. But we think that our projects, that even Olivia as well, not much was around that. They all transform in Broderpool or downtown Indianapolis. We've been over 20 years. We love the fact that our projects ignite the area. We also love the fact that we need to do with other developers. If they come and develop around it, we create a district. So it's the old saying, rising tides raise all the boats. And so we're excited the fact that we were transforming, but others joined and made the area even better.
Turning to downtown Indy now, you've been a property owner downtown for a long time and an investor, and you continue to invest downtown at a time when many are concerned about the future of downtowns in general, and Indy's no exception. But you're doubling down. You've converted the former AT&T building at 220 Meridian into apartments, making major improvements like adding a parking garage. In the age of remote working, with more downtown office buildings under pressure, can your AT&T office to apartment conversion serve as a model, or do you see that type of conversion continuing in downtown Indy?
I do. As you know, buildings are built, especially here, like the Circle Center Mall. I mean, at that time, that was the right thing to do. The buildings were built a certain way. It served the purpose. But like anything else, you have to evolve, and times change. You have to adjust to that. But the 220 building, we put a 11th floor rooftop pool, right? That is very cool. You got an 11th floor looking at downtown skyline. Indoor parking garage is a necessity. They had no parking back then. But in the 1970s, it was okay. Not everybody had a car. This is not the day. So the buildings need to be transformed for their times, and doesn't mean that you build a building 50, 60 years ago needs to stay the same format. It is very challenging to do that. We've done well over 20-some years in multiple buildings. And we've recently received an award from Indy Chamber for transformation of that building, CoStar Real Estate Magazine. So we've got a lot of calls around the country because everybody's talking about it, that there's not a lot of them being transferred. And we definitely think that not all buildings are easy to do. There are some that are easier, as we've seen that over the years. So we definitely think that nobody wants vacant buildings in any city, in urban area. We need to study and make sure that we are converting those to bring life to the area so that for the right purpose.
You're also adding a new luxury hotel brand to our city with, once again, another conversion of an existing historic building, the Illinois building. Tell us how the Intercontinental Hotel might be different than other downtown hotels and what that might bring to our downtown.
Illinois building is 1926. I love historic buildings. Our headquarters are at Majestic Building, built 1895, first steel skyscraper in this state. So I love historic because it's impossible to replicate these buildings today and the history of that. And when we bought that building, it's been vacant over 13 years. It was listed as one of the 10 most endangered buildings by Indiana Landmarks. So the building was starting to show that. And the first thing we did was it was empty for a long time, restored the exterior of the building to preserve, and then we've added restaurants on the first floor. And we got delayed with pandemic a little bit, but the Intercontinental started it last year, and we hope to open that late this summer. And our goal is to continue like what we do, to elevate whatever we do in the city. We have some good hotels, but to become a world-class city, we need to continue to have some amenities like luxury hotels. This will have the most amazing rooftop 11th floor. We're adding a whole floor to an existing 100-year-old building almost to do that. Very challenging, but it's got amazing views of the Circle and the state capitol. And we don't have the ocean, but it is as good as a view you're going to get in this state to do. But it puts another unique luxury global brand. Intercontinental is the first international luxury hotel chain. Goes back to Pan Am times. And we think that Indianapolis needs to continue to have hotels like that to elevate, to attract other events, sporting events, conventions, and corporate events when they are visiting in town to do that. So it's going to be a beautiful boutique, 107 rooms. We'll have a restaurant, another restaurant on the second floor, and obviously rooftop restaurant bar on the 11th floor. Looking forward to continue to add to downtown to elevate the hotel options we have right now.
It's exciting to have a rooftop. There really aren't any significant rooftops that are like what you just described. So I know it's going to be a great addition. And it's cool. It's the 11th floor. There's something catchy about 11.
My favorite number now, and obviously, anything I do, if there's an opportunity, that will do that. And not only that, even at the 220 building, our amenity center is on the 11th floor, and we added a pool onto the building next door, which is on the 11th floor as well.
And 220 is almost like 11 times 2 at the 0. So everything kind of is
That's
around
right.
11.
I love that. Simple.
So talking about 11, so of course the project that everybody wants to learn more about is 11 Park, the development that will feature the home stadium of the Indy 11 soccer team. But before we get into more detail there, let's talk about the beginning of professional soccer in the state of Indiana. You, I know, grew up playing soccer, but when did you first get the idea of starting a professional soccer team here in Indianapolis? And tell us how that idea then evolved and how you came to start the Indy 11 team.
I grew up playing soccer, middle school, high school captain, and played in college also as not professional, but amateur. And so I love the sport. It's the most global sport, and it brings people together. And Nelson Mandela has the saying that it really impacted that. He used sports to bring people together after he was freed from jail. He has this amazing quote saying that sports has the power to unite people, while everything else almost divides. So I felt like this is maybe over 20 years ago when I was starting the business, and it was amazing. We have an NBA team, an NFL team, and a minor league baseball team. I felt like I decided that I'm going to move to Indianapolis and never move in. I hope that one day I'll have a family here, and then they're from Indiana, and I have, obviously. And that was really, I said, if I am in a position that the business to do well, I'd love to contribute some way to continue build on what our city leaders have done to make the city a sports business, sports capital. Used to be amateur capital, but has moved to more professional sports, international events, and to host. And that was really about 20 years ago. I remember, even reaching out to Major League Soccer and how much does it cost to do that. And so as years have passed, it was about 2012 when we were actually 2010-11 when we were bidding on World Cup for 2018 or 22. I was in the local bid committee. I've got to meet with some people around the country. I thought, it would be amazing if we were to host a World Cup here in the U.S. Indianapolis was shortlisted at that time for 2028 or 2022, the U.S. And if the U.S. were to get it, we were going to maybe be a shortlisted city to have that. It'll be amazing to have a soccer team started before then. Now, U.S. did not get 2018 or 22, but through the process, I got more energized. I met a lot of people, and we were looking at Major League Soccer. The people I met that started in the second division, a professional team, but on the second division, they moved to like Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, Montreal, and now Nashville, Cincinnati. A lot of the Major League Soccer teams actually moved on from the Division II, the league we're in. And they said, well, why don't you start one? And then things go well. And maybe, if the city can sustain it, maybe you can have Major League Soccer, because Indianapolis is a great sports town to do that. So that was really when 2012 that we went through the process and then acquired the franchise. In January 2013, we went public. We took a year to hire staff, come up with the names. Indy 11 is actually, and everybody knows the 11 number, 11 players on the field. But the reason we selected the name is that Indiana is the 11th Regiment of Civil War, and April 25th, 1865. And so we really wanted to honor the Indiana's history to military, and we were the fourth largest National Guard at that time when we decided that. And the General Lew Wallace from Crawfordsville was the head of the 11th Regiment, and he went on, became obviously the governor and ambassador, and write a book. Ben-Hur won 11 awards, and the movie itself. So we really wanted to do that, and obviously we've been playing for over 11 years now.
You know your history. I thought you said you studied engineering at Purdue. You sounds like you know Indiana history pretty well, too.
I've been here in the U.S. almost 30 years. More of my life, 60% of my life has been here. So I'm as Hoosier as you can get without accents.
So you also recently, in addition to the men's team, you brought a women's soccer team to Indy, and they won a championship, I think, in their first season. Is that right?
The first season we lost in the finals, but in the second season, the same team. Our coach did an amazing job. I have 3 girls, right? So I'm and a boy, so 4 kids, and it's amazing to obviously support women's sport. Support obviously in women, but we thought it's important to make sure that we're also supporting women in sport, but soccer, and it's very exciting. And as we move to the new stadium when it's built, we also recently acquired the Major League Women's League Super League that we will also have play at the new stadium with the Indy 11 men's team.
the popularity of women's sports. Of course, just learned that most likely Caitlin Clark, the most popular women's basketball player on the planet, is likely headed to the Fever here soon. So it's neat to see you doing the same thing for soccer for women. It's great. Let's take a quick break. This is Off the Record Podcast.
Get caught up on the state's top business news every business day with the Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand podcast. Available now at InsideIndianaBusiness.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Off the Record Podcast. I'm Nate Feltman, CEO of IBJ Media, and I'm talking with Ersal Ozdemir, founder and chairman of Keystone Group and Indy 11. So turning now to the development that really has the opportunity to transform, especially that southwest quarter of downtown, and that's 11 Park. You've worked, I know, for years to get to the point where you are today, including convincing the legislature that Indy needed a soccer-specific stadium. And this year, as we mentioned in the intro, you broke ground at the former Diamond Chain site. How would you describe the process to get to the point you are today?
We're all those people that had the dream. Nothing easy happens for if you want to do something major, transformational, and we believe in it. We believe this is great. Indianapolis, again, is a great sports town, great city. State is a great state. So we do think that the world's most popular sport should be presented here. And it's impossible to have the experience that you have around the world in soccer without the proper venue. Not just soccer, but any other proper sport needs a proper venue to do that. And it's been wonderful to be at Carroll Stadium with a former track soccer stadium, and we've renovated. It was a good experience to play at Lucas Oil, but they're not really soccer stadiums. The support has been unbelievable over 11 years. It's still as strong as we had. And for us to continue to show what the potential is and give the best true experience, what really soccer is, like most of the all major cities in the U.S. has built soccer stadiums recently, we want to make sure that Hoosiers also have the experience to do that. We want to make sure that not only we're sustaining, growing the team, we're having the best talent in Indianapolis. And I've said this 10 years ago when we do that for us to have a major league team one day, we're going to have a stadium. And without the stadium, that's not an option. We also know that we need a team. Our team needs a stadium, but getting this thing through the threshold now, and with the legislation, with the support of the State House, with the city support recently, they passed a resolution to create the district. And now we acquired the site. We've demolished the buildings. We're going through the site conditions, and the design is in process right now. So we can't wait. It's been a little longer than I would have hoped, but like all good things happen for those wait, I think. I'm optimistic. Not just soccer, but the transformation is going to transform that area. You're on the river. We've been talking about transforming the riverfront for so many years. Rivers are amazing in a lot of parts of the world. We're excited to reactivate the river for the first time. We're excited that we're going to convert an industrial area to more mixed-use residential. We're a block from Lucas Oil Stadium, a block from Convention Center, Victory Field, White River, the concert venue, the museums, across from the new headquarters of Alanco, the zoo. So it's really a lynch point. We have some amazing companies walking distance, Rolls-Royce, Eli Lilly, Elevens. So we're really excited, not just for the soccer, but having this venue to serve 365 to the football team, Lucas Oil events, convention center, to the baseball, and to make this as a heartbeat of the area.
In addition to the soccer stadium itself, you're really envisioning a mixed-use development beyond just the stadium itself, right? You're doing more than just the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, that is really, the stadium is a smaller component of the whole project. That's really what we're excited. I'm excited as the Indy 11 to have a permanent home to make sure that we solidify our place here, but also transforming the area to residential, hotels and office and retail, restaurants. Either you're going to a Colts game or you're going to Taylor Swift concert, there's somewhere for you to go. Right now, that area is rough. Lucas Oil is beautiful, but there's not much to do around that. We want to change that, create jobs. We'll have over 2,000 permanent jobs. People are going to live there. They're going to become a neighborhood. We'll have amazing restaurants, hopefully working in a grocery store. And to become the area that, not just that area, but the neighborhood to the west over the river, neighborhood to the south side, there's a place for people to go, make that a village for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, a lot of cities have developed these sports districts. And of course, you just mentioned the downtown baseball stadium, the Colts Stadium, and Gamebridge for the Pacers not too far away. But that area really could develop into something special like you see in other cities that really develop these sports districts.
Yeah, really do. And we were also planning a 4,000-seat indoor event concert venue. We don't have anything like that in the state. It's a small, but you can have a lot of concerts. And with the Sleepy Noodle, just 2 blocks east, and Lucas Oil is doing more and more concerts. White River venue hosted, I think, 50 concerts, up to 6,000 seat. We're open to add more live music restaurants to the district and have a 4,000-seat event. The stadium itself could host up to 30,000-seat outdoor concerts. We're not going to be the Deer Creek up in north, but we'll host 6-10 concerts a year that will be here to complement that, hopefully, and to make sure that we're finding ways to get people downtown from the suburbs as well as from all over the region for amazing concerts, sporting events, and for downtown.
You just described what I know could draw a lot of people downtown, not just from, of course, from out of town, but from all the suburbs that you've mentioned up north, down south. Besides all the great things that you just mentioned that you're in the middle of and working to try to do to improve downtown and to bring more entertainment options and activity downtown, are there other things we need to be doing to think about how we improve downtown? Are there any other things that you think, gosh, if we fixed this or did that, we would really start seeing more revival?
I think, city leaders chose sports late 70s to build a business model, right? Not just we love sports, but it's great for our city. It became more clear at the pandemic that but for the apartments recently built downtown, and when everything was closed, no conventions, right? Downtown would have died but for the residential component that has been done last 20 years. And it was also clear that when we were able to get out, our sporting venues were limited capacity, but that was one reason people came downtown. You can't control conventions, right, if they're not hosting conventions, but having home teams like Colts, Pacers, Indians, and Indy 11, we were able to start bringing people downtown to get out to do that. So I think it became more clear the sporting events is a big attraction to bring people downtown. Like any other business, we can't my office has been downtown over 20 years now. I love downtown. I don't intend to move out of downtown. I've been here most of the time through the pandemic. But also, we can't rely on what has happened in the past. We got to continue to reinvest, find new ways to do that. The Circle Mall development, the 11 Park, the other projects IU Health is building east of downtown. The redevelopments coming over the elevator hill. So we need to continue to invest. And we can't just say, come downtown. We have to give reasons for people to come down. They need to feel safe. They need to know that you have amenities here that you can't have anywhere, which we do. No other place in the state have the sporting events. They don't have the state capitol. They don't have the restaurants, some of the restaurants you can have. They don't have the zoo, right? So the White River Park. So we have some amazing assets, but we have to continue build on them to keep it exciting. Like any business, give people reasons to come here from around the state, around the region, and around the country.
Zooming out a little bit from the city, thinking about the entire state, what do you see as some of the most pressing challenges as a state that we have and areas where we could improve and do better?
Our state leaders, Indiana is one of the most fiscally responsible. We got surpluses, which most states will love to have. The job creation announcement every other day, there's $1 billion plus announcement. As what we do Keystone, we do transformational mixed-use equality developments. And same as Indy 11 as basically an entertainment and sports and promote the city and state. So we live this in our businesses, right? We've always believed in that quality of life is important. We want good jobs. We want high-paying jobs. We want people to make more money and have a great living in the city and state to do that. And for us to continue to do that, it's become more clear. There are more jobs than people we have. We need to continue to attract. We've been trying to do it with the kind of buildings we built, quality to places that people want to live, work, or go to restaurants and to do that. But it's became clear with the statewide that we need talent. We need to retain great talent. We need to bring people here. Like some cities done, Nashville, people will move into these cities, Austin, without jobs. We want to continue to become a great place so people want to move here. Because we don't have the people to serve these jobs that are out there to do. Unemployment is still very low. We don't want just jobs, but we want good paying jobs. To do that, we need to continue to reinvest in our White River Park, our amenities, and hopefully the new soccer stadium and great schools and public safety. So there's a lot going on, but we got to continue to invest in things that will elevate the quality of life in the city and the state to attract more talent or retain our graduates from the best universities in the world. They're graduating from here and they're going out of state. We need to try to keep more of them here and help to grow the state's amazing brain power and population.
Makes sense. So, Ersal, now you've been in the U.S. for over 30 years and have been a business owner in Indianapolis for 25 years or so. And I'd say, as you've kind of said earlier, you've lived the American dream. In spite of our divisive politics that we're all aware of today, that you probably would say this is the land of opportunity. It's been that for you. How would you describe your experience as an entrepreneur and business owner in the United States? We talked a little bit about this earlier, coming from Turkey and coming to Indiana. And as you look back, what does that experience feel like, look like, and how would you describe it?
Obviously, if you turn the TV on, right, it is tough to watch. And I didn't really think that 30 years ago. I mean, it's a different environment than when I did. But I think about it more as an American, that we have challenges. We will have challenges. It's how you look at it. This is still the best country to live by far. I don't think this is said much because I appreciate it because I've been here 30 years and I travel and people look up to America. They do need U.S. to be strong, in my opinion. We need to make sure that we're engaged around the world to preserve American values, what made America great. But it doesn't mean that it's like having a great family that you don't have challenges with if you have kids and siblings and all that. I hope that we work through these issues. That doesn't change the fact that this is still the best country to live in. I always said in the past that if you're going to be born in a country that you're not naturally born to, this is the best place to live. And there's an opportunity. You work hard. You make mistakes. We do it all the time. You fix it. You get better. You want to get better, and you want to provide for your family, your friends, and your city, and be a good citizen to do that. So, as much as we see all these negatives around, and there are some serious issues that we need to address it in so many other ways. But that doesn't change the fact that this is still the best country. We just need to think that, remember that, and then say, how do we slowly fix some of the issues that we have? Today, the issues that we're saying, in 20 years, there will be different issues. We're going to have issues. We just need to remember that it's a big family, diverse family. We need to continue to bring people together and continue to grow and make sure the U.S. continues to be the best place to live and the best places to be from, and the best place to also visit for many years to come.
Well said. Well, as we've talked about, Ersal, in closing, I want to ask you a question. You have had some amazing projects, distinctive projects. You've got some big ones on the drawing board that are coming to fruition right now. The Intercontinental Hotel this summer, 11 Park we talked about. Is there another big project that you can share with us, or another big dream in the future, what you might do here in Indianapolis or the state of Indiana? Or is there something else that you say, gosh, I'm hoping I accomplish this, or this is on the drawing board?
Our mission over 20-some years has become more clear. We're very clear what we are. We're intentionally choose projects. We don't go just everywhere. We just don't develop. If we don't have a passion for the location and the area, we just don't do that, regardless of if it's profitable, how much profit you're going to make. So we're really selective on the projects we do. We really do, it's three things we look at is we want to be transformational and make the community better, elevate, and become an example for others to continue to look up and build better, nicer, more attractive buildings for all to serve. At the same time, we will continue with this approach where the areas, we're focused on more urban, downtown Indianapolis. We'll continue. Midtown, right now, North Side. Grand Park is Westfield with the new leadership at the city. They're very exciting. That's the largest sports park in the country. 10 years ago, visionary mayor built it. The new leadership wants to continue. We're going to be involved to manage that park with a partner, and Keystone will be able to create. It's a beautiful park, but we want to build some mixed use to create a soul to have that a better place for the residents of Westfield, the region, state, as well as the people are visiting all over the country for any baseball, soccer, football, lacrosse, and whatever event, pickleball now coming in to do that. So that will be exciting to build a village there as well, not similar to 11 Park, but a lot of components of, to restaurants, retail, bowling alleys, maybe indoor carts, and to make people to spend more time in central Indiana. And that's all complementary to the other parts of the city, to Indianapolis, Carmel, Greenwood. So we're trying to build a region. For me, I didn't draw these boundaries with city lines, right? I consider that whole central Indiana is one. I consider state is our home. So we want to try to continue to do that. So that will be really an amazing long-term project, working with the city, partnership with the residents of Westfield. Keystone Crossing is exciting. That's coming up. They'll transform the 86th and Keystone, the premier corner. We have a project we're getting ready to start in Broad Ripple. We were in Broad Ripple 12, 13 years ago. We did the first development. There wasn't developed for 30 years. There's been so much great development since then. It was exciting that we were leading there as well. Continue to build on that. Fort Bend is a special, Lawrence, downtown Fort Bend military base. It's a lot of history there. We're excited to build a transformational project there starting later this year, and another project coming up in Carmel. So there's a lot going on. 11 Park is obviously big. Everybody looks at it. We have a lot of great projects that maybe doesn't get as much attention, but they're also a transformation in its own place as well. And we're very excited to be part of that.
It's amazing the impact that you're having around Central Indiana region and the state as a whole. Well, Ersal, we've made it to the end, to off the record speed round, where I give you some questions and you try to give me some quick answers. And so, are you ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
You ready?
Go easy on me.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Godfather.
Favorite place to vacation?
I say Turkey is going to be always special because my parents are there, my family is there, and love going to see my parents and taking my family with them. But I love the coast, Florida. It's hard to beat the weather in the wintertime especially. So anywhere on the beach, I love Florida. Favorite musical artist? I grew up in Turkey. Michael Jackson was big and U2 was big. So I have now so many favorites. My kids love you. It's Taylor Swift. So I listen all the time. I listen to a lot of music. But I would say that if I were to go back to my childhood, Michael Jackson and U2 would be the two. Well, Michael Jackson's an Indiana guy, so that was right. A good choice. What's the first thing you do in the morning? I go take a shower. Title of the last book you read? Never Ride a Roller Coaster Upside Down by Jeff Smolian, great civic and business leader in Indianapolis. What food can you not live without? I don't know there's a food I can live without, but if I have to pick one, I love tomatoes. Best advice you ever received? I've had a lot of great leaders from my parents, Dr. Burservas and Dick Johnson to Mickey Maurer has given me some great advice in the past. But I would say if I have to pick one, maybe a little personal, my mom, from a young age, she's an amazing woman. I remember earlier saying that everybody loved her and she loved talking to everybody and just the most humble person. She always said, this is conversion from Turkish, so I might mess it up, but it's always said that never look down on anyone, treat everybody the same, be nice, and don't think that you're better than somebody and don't ever lose your roots, basically, that you're a human being. And sometimes you feel like you've accomplished a little bit here, a little there, but it's all really subjective. So it's important to always remember where you come from and the values of a human being and others. So I would say if I were to say that a little more personal, I love my parents, so they've been amazing for me. So I would say that. Advice for a young person who wants to become a leader? I say, hopefully you figured out what you love earlier. Find your passion, whatever that is, and never give up. Finally, Messi or Ronaldo? Messi, for sure. Ersal, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me on the Indiana 250 podcast. Thank you for all you've been doing for our region, our city, our state, and I know what you'll continue to do. Thank you so much. Thanks to Ersal Ozdemir, founder and chairman of Keystone Group and Indy 11, for our conversation today. To learn more about other leaders on IBJ Media's Indiana 250 list, go to indiana250.com and look for a Page 2 feature each week in IBJ. We'll be back with a new Indiana 250 off-the-record conversation soon.